Look, guys, Carolina Jackpot coming at you. One of the things you know about getting older is that certain dates you forget, and certain things that you forget about them. And as much as we malign and bellyache about social media, thank God for it sometimes, because it has timelines and reminders and anniversaries and all that good stuff that makes you remember things that happened on a certain day, a certain year, in which case you might just forget all about it for that particular year, and it might become an even more distant memory than what it was. I remember May the 23rd, 1999, and it's not been that long ago. I remember being there, and I was with my first wife, or I've only been married once, Carolina Jackpot House, so I was with her. It was before we got married, and I had rented the Over the Edge pay-per-view, the WWF show from Kansas City, and I remember about 3 matches into that thing, it was something weird going on, because the screen kind of went blank, and they kind of moved away from the crowd. I'm like, well, this is kind of weird. What's going on here? But back then, in the late 90s, you never knew what was going to happen at any of those wrestling shows, because it was the Attitude Era, and just crazy shit was happening all the time. But unbeknownst to me, Owen Hart, had fallen from the ceiling of the Kemper Arena and landed in the ring before his scheduled match against the Godfather, known as the Godfather's real name's Charles Wright. Was also Kama Mustafa and some other things back in the day. But Owen Hart, the younger brother of Bret Hitman Hart, the youngest of like 13 of the Hart family from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The famous wrestling family, kind of begat by Stu Hart, who ran Stampede Wrestling and had become a star in the WWF, but not quite as big a star as his brother Bret, who had left a couple of years earlier for WCW, even though Owen Hart had beaten him on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania 10, back in 1994. I always had liked Owen Hart's work. I thought he was a tremendous gifted wrestler, especially from the athletic standpoint. Maybe his promos and stuff like that like he didn't talk, and draw a crowd in like all the other wrestlers did, but he had an ability to really make you dislike him, which really it gets you over, as they call it, with the fans. But he, at this point in his career, was kind of stagnant, and he was doing this character called the Blue Blazer, which he had done early on in his career in the early 90s, where he was like a superhero. And he was coming down to fight the Godfather, who was, all about pimping hoes, smoking weed, slapping them gals back into place, this, that, and other. And it was supposed to be like a good versus evil thing, but the good guy, in theory, which would Owen, the Blue Blazer, was actually going to be the bad guy, which he was kind of like Kurt Angle. Which you remember from WWE, like the drink milk, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, woo, everything, healthy is good type individual. It was kind of like that, but it went horribly wrong before his match. This cable that he was supposed to ascend down into the ring on and make his superhero-like entrance was supposed to be attached to him, and they rigged it with some kind of a clip, which was something that they used to rig sailboats with. And as soon as Owen Hart left the balcony at the top of the Kemper Arena to descend, it gave way and just snapped. and he fell. Some people say at 60 feet. Some people say it was almost 100 feet. He fell and like spiraled down into the ring, where on the way down, reports say that he actually was yelling at the referee and who was in the ring cleaning up some debris from the previous match, to move, to get out of the way, move, because he knew he was going to fall, and apparently hit his head on the turnbuckle as he fell. I guess broke his neck, and he died. I mean, he died right there in the ring. They came out. I think they tried to, I guess, probably look like they were reviving him. But I think that all those EMTs that came out, they probably knew that he was already gone by the time that they got to him. I can only hope that he died, like really quickly after he hit that after his head hit that turnbuckle, because nobody deserves really to suffer when they pass away, unless you're like a mass murderer or serial killer or something like that. Somebody's really done things wrong in their life to harm others. Maybe you deserve a death that's really slow and painful, but Owen Hart didn't deserve that. His family didn't deserve that, and just a tragic way to end a wrestling career that hadn't really even taken off yet. Hadn't really even taken off. He was only 33 years old. I mean, some of these guys last until they're like 50. So, I mean, he could have easily had 10 more years ahead of him. Owen Hart could have been a world champion. His ring work was like second to none. And like I said, I wasn't like his biggest supporter when he was active. But a lot of these guys, you don't find out about how great of a person they really are until after either they're not in the wrestling business or they're passed away, because they can't expose that much about themselves. But from all accounts, books I've read, documentaries I've watched, I mean, he was a great family man, just a great person to be around in the locker room, and it's just really sad that he wasn't able to make even more of an impact on the wrestling industry than what he was in his short time here on Earth. And my son, who is 20 years old now, his middle name is Owen, and he was born in 2001. And I found out a little bit more about Owen Hart, the person, not Owen Hart, the wrestler, by the time he was born. And I thought that would be a fitting name for him. I thought it would be a name befitting a soul who's just bound to touch everyone that he met and make them smile. And in his 20 years on the earth, my son has been able to do that. So I'm proud of him. And Owen Hart, rest in peace, 22 years ago. It just seems like yesterday I was watching that pay-per-view, and that tragedy is something that I'll never forget. And hopefully the wrestling world will always remember you, and I know they will. I don't know if you'll ever be in the WWE Hall of Fame or not. I know a couple of years ago, Mark Henry kind of made a tearful plea to your late wife, Martha Hart, to include you in the WWE Hall of Fame. And I really think that Mark's heart was in a good place. I think that you were probably a mentor to him and someone he looked up to a lot, but it was probably wrong time, wrong place. And, your wife really just needs to be let be. I mean, you guys, it was like together since like you were in middle school or something. So, I mean, it was more than just like a a one-night affair, and then boom, you got married. I mean, you guys were like soulmates for years and years, and she had a lot vested in you, as in you and her. So she has, in my opinion, a lot more say in those types of situations than normal. And if she doesn't deem it fit, and doesn't think that it's befitting your legacy to be in the Hall of Fame there, then you shouldn't be. And they should honor her wishes and really just leave the poor lady alone. That's about all I got to say about it. Carolina Jackpot, huge wrestling fan, and that's just a sad day. When I saw that come across my timeline today, I just had to talk about it and share some memories and filibuster on it. So I'll see you guys later. Rest in peace, Owen Hart.